Okay, so tonight our Zoom is going to be on the 5 components of fitness, and I'm really glad that you guys can join me tonight because we're going to go over some really good content, which is about how your body works and how to get the best results. So when we understand how our body works, we understand the 5 components of fitness, we're really able to put a plan into action that's going to help you achieve your goals. Anytime during the Zoom, if you guys have any comments, anything you'd like to add, or if you have any questions, just feel free to ask, and we'll take a moment to go over any questions that you have. But as we begin our program, we want to talk about things, all the way through the program, but some things we would like to talk about sooner than later because we want to make sure that you're, doing a routine that's going to work best for you, best for your body. And again, that's going to give you the best results. So the more you understand, the more you're able to see your progress, your bite-sized, steps of progress as we get from point A to point B. So the 5 components of fitness, you have your strength training, you have your cardio training, you have your flexibility training, you have nutrition, which we went over last week. We'll tap on that a little bit again today. And then the 5th component that we'll be talking about is your body composition. So your body composition is what we took at the beginning of the program. And again, it's what we're going to take at the end of the program. So
name with me.
I'm going to go ahead and start right in with.
I thought it was just used.
Okay, so we got some background. So let's just go ahead and we'll mute out. So if you go to the bottom of your screen, you can see there's a mute button. You can mute yourselves. I can mute you for you, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and mute you guys. I don't know where that was coming from. Okay, cool. So anytime you guys want to chime in, just unmute yourself or just wave your hand at me, okay? The first component of fitness that we're going to talk about is going to be our strength training. So all of them are equally important, but what strength does for us, obviously it's going to help us get our body stronger. It's responsible for, the shape, the tone, the definition of our body, but strength training directly correlates with how fast your metabolism is. So sometimes people might say, hey, I just have a slow metabolism. Well, the reality, they might not have much muscle density in their body, and therefore their metabolism is slower. So that's something that we can really do a lot about is our metabolism is by developing our strength and developing our muscle and our body. So when it comes to strength training, we can go on different types of programs to get stronger. A common program is, hey, I'm going to start working out 3 times a week with a recovery day in between. Some people might go on a more aggressive program where they're working out 5 days a week and they're just kind of changing up the workouts they're doing. That's one reason why we change up the workouts every day. When you come in, you're always doing something a little bit different. Your recovery is important. But when you're doing things that is resistance against your body, so whether it's, the machines like we did in the morning class today, or the free weights that you're using, or, TRX where you're using angles to put different, loads against your muscles, that's called strength training. So as you are able to challenge your muscles and you fatigue them, what you're actually doing is you're breaking down muscle tissue. You're actually breaking it down. You're getting like small microscopic tears in the muscle, and that's okay. Because what happens is those muscles will heal, they'll get stronger, then they'll be able to sustain more resistance. So that's what your strength training is. So I like to explain to people, when it comes to your metabolism and muscle in the body, is one example I like to use is if we had 2 fires. And one fire I threw a log into, and it smoldered, and it took about a day before it burned into ash. Or if I took another log and I threw it in a different fire, and it burned right up. That one would be a demonstration of a body with muscle density, the one that burned right up, and one would be a body that doesn't have much muscle density in it. So you can actually have 2 people that weigh the same exact amount of weight, and they're going to be burning calories at a different level based on what their the muscle density in their body. So what happens is, we have people that have really good genetics, and, whatever their age is, they're always toned, they're always, they've got these really good genetics. But as we get older, for most of us, we start to lose a pound of muscle each year, and we start to gain, a pound of fat. So we've got this, aging process that happens, and that's normal. So that's why, it's important to be on a good strength training program so that we can offset that, we can counterbalance that. And then for women, when women start going through menopause, those numbers can almost start to double. So a lot of times I'll have women that come into my office and, they're, 55, 60, whatever their age is. And they'll be like, I always was like toned, I always was fit, but over the last 3 or 4 years, I don't know what happened. Well, what happened is this aging process started to happen, and their body naturally their metabolism got slower, and now they want to come in and they want to do something about it, but maybe had they known what I'm teaching you today, maybe if they had known that ahead of time, they could have offset that some. And does that make sense so far? Yeah. So when it comes to muscle in the body, and this is something that I talk to a lot of my classes today, when you develop muscle, 1 pound of muscle in your body is going to take up about the space of 1 stick of butter. So it doesn't take up much space. It's tight and it's dense. And again, it's what causes your body to have that firmness in the muscles. 1 pound of body fat takes up about the space of 4 sticks of butter. So it takes up a lot of space. It's not metabolically active like muscle is. And it's really important to understand that, because a lot of times people get really hooked on the scale. They're working out, they're beginning a program, they're working out hard. They can feel some things are starting to change. Some clothes are starting to fit a little bit looser, but they get on the scale and they don't see the numbers changing. And often they can get very discouraged. That's when people kind of quit at the beginning of a workout program because they're not getting results fast enough, when in essence their body is changing. So let's just say, you were able to put on, let's just say in this program, let's just say you put on 2 pounds of muscle, and you took off 2 pounds of fat. Now think about how much space that is. That's a lot of space, and how I just described it to you. But they might look at the scale and be like, nothing's happening. Nothing's changing. But you gained 2 pounds, and you gained 2 pounds and you lost 2 pounds, but what happened under your skin did change. So that's really important to understand, and that's why I would never do a weight loss competition. Like I would never say, let's see who's going to win based on who lost 5 pounds, who lost 10 pounds. I mean, that's just beating your head against the wall, because we do want to build muscle. We want to put that muscle on our body. And yes, we want to reduce fat, if that's our goal, and body composition testing is really the way to go about that. So that's a little bit about the first component, about the strength component, how that works. Again, like an average program where somebody's just doing a regular program of strength training, 3 times a week is good. You can go up to 5 times a week. You do want to make sure that you have some recovery built into that. That is important. And it's also important that when you get onto a workout program, that you're going to be able to pick a routine that you're going to sustain. So a lot of times when it comes to something like thin and winter, we might have people that are, really, they want results, they're really working hard, and they're coming in a whole lot. But at some point, they're going to get tired. They're going to set their body up for injury if they're not getting the recovery they need. And then when we're done with the competition, all of a sudden their training goes whoosh, because they didn't get into a routine that is realistically sustainable for them, their personality type, their goals, so that it can be a long-term result. So that's why we like to, pop in, and we like to have these Zooms, because we want to make sure that we give everybody the proper education that's going to give them the long-term results. And sometimes, again, when you're in the middle of the workout class, we're focusing on other things, form, technique, what the exercises are. So we don't always have time to dig deeper into some of these topics. The second component, do you guys have any questions on the strength part right now? I'll just continue and then we can kind of, check in as we go along. The second component is going to be cardiovascular training, and all these components are equally important. So people do cardiovascular training basically for two reasons. One, very commonly, is people want to burn fat off their body. Second is they want to build their cardiorespiratory system. I'm going to back up just a second here. When you have a body that is metabolically active, I can be sitting here burning calories pretty rapidly because I have the muscle density in my body. So sitting here doing nothing, I'm burning calories because of muscle density. When you come to cardio training, you're burning more calories while you're actually doing the exercise. So they're different. So when it comes to cardio training, people do it for two reasons. One, they want to develop their cardiorespiratory system. They want to be able to breathe better. They want to have, more endurance. They just, want to be able to get from here to here without feeling like they're out of breath, So that's a really important reason to do cardio training. And then another reason is because, they want to burn fat off of their body. So when it comes to cardio training, the science is yes, you can do cardio training 7 days a week. You can do that. I don't typically ask my clients to do cardio training 7 days a week because we do need off days. And it goes back to being able to sustain a lifestyle. So for somebody doing cardio training, they might, again, fall between that 3 to 5 times a week, but then you might have some people that are just more athletically, wired up, and it's going to work better for them and their personality to do it more often. So you have options. But I'm going to teach you guys tonight how to get really good results with your cardio training. So cardio training for our cardiorespiratory system only. About 25 minutes, you can get a really good cardio workout in that's going to help build your cardiorespiratory system. And you want to push at a level that's going to challenge you. So you're going to endure it for a shorter period of time, but you're going to push at a level that's going to challenge you personally. You're staying aerobic, so you're still able to breathe with the exercise. So I might start off, and let's just say perceived exertion. What's best for me in beginning a program, perceived exertion 1 through 10. I'm not talking about a heart rate chart here right now. I'm talking about a perceived exertion. So let's just say for me, like a 1 is just like, moving really slow, and a 10, I'm just doing a really good run on the treadmill. So maybe for me, starting off in an exercise program, maybe I want to hang out around a 5 or a 6 as I begin. And then maybe, a couple weeks into it, I might push that to a 6 to a 7 or to an 8 to a 9, as long as I can sustain that. But obviously you want to work at a level where you're staying aerobic and you're not losing breath going anaerobic during this. And as you're able to push yourself a little bit higher into those levels, of course, the more cardiovascularly fit you're going to become. So about 25 minutes is going to be pretty good for building up that cardiorespiratory system. Now, a lot of times people want to do cardio training because they want to burn fat from the body. So when you begin something cardio, like when we start our classes, we're always going to start on, whatever piece of equipment you want, treadmill, bike, elliptical. We'll always do about a good 10-minute warm-up. We are preparing you to get into a fat burning stage. So it takes about 15 minutes, give or take, for your body to get into fat burning. So the first thing that's happening is your body is resorting to carbohydrates to fuel the activity. But after about 15, 20 minutes, then your body then enters into fat burning. It's going to be using fat to burn to fuel the activity. So that's why we want to get through that first 15, 20 minutes so that we can now enter into that stage. The fat burning lasts about 45 minutes to an hour. I just need to write something down I don't want to forget to tell you about, okay? And so our workouts, all of our workouts are going to be a good 45 minutes, and we have a nice stretch and a cool down at the end of each thing. So we're able to get you through a really good fat burning phase during your workout. The way that we're doing many of our workouts in the studio is we are combining strength and cardio together so that you're killing two birds with one stone. So we're giving you a very efficient way to work out to get results, rather than saying, hey, I want you to come in 3 times a week and do just the treadmill for 45 minutes, and then I want you to come in another 3 times a week and just do your strength training. We're combining them so that we're getting results on both of those. Now, to be able to get into a fat burning stage, your heart does not have to be that high. If we got you in 70% of your training zone, so you're just going at a good pace, you're still able to breathe, you're still able to have a conversation, but you got a good steady pace going. 70% of your heart rate is going to get you into a fat burning zone. So you do not have to be dying to be burning fat, you know. If you are pushing yourself a little bit higher and a little bit higher, of course, like I just said, you're going to get more cardiovascularly fit, and we do want that. Anaerobic training is when you're running out of oxygen. You know, it's like you're doing something and you can't breathe. Like you just went full out as fast as you could for 15, 20 seconds, and now you're gasping for air. When you go into anaerobic training, your body stops burning fat at that point. Okay, and not that anaerobic training is bad, because there are reasons for that. But it's a way higher level of intensity of training. You're pushing into a higher threshold. But again, most of us are doing our cardio because we want to burn fat. So just know, like, if you are, going out and you're doing like a good brisk walk around your neighborhood, just know you want to endure that activity for a little while so that you can, get through that stage if that happens to be your goals. Now, if there's things that you really enjoy doing, that's exactly what I would recommend. So sometimes people are like, which cardio is better? Should I do the treadmill? Should I do the elliptical? Should I do, swimming? Whatever you enjoy is something that you're more apt to stick with for a lifestyle. So whatever it is you like, do it, or if you want to mix it up, if you want to do part bike, part treadmill when you're in the class, or, if you like going out kayaking, because it's important that you're choosing activities that you enjoy, because again, what we're looking for is long-term results. So if there's something you don't like doing, if you don't like doing a spin class, or you don't like doing a kickboxing class, do something that you're going to enjoy, That's a little bit about cardio, but there's a couple other neat little tricks to cardio in regards to burning fat. So often we do a class where we're on cardio. We do lower body, upper body, lower body, upper body. We're back to cardio. That type of training is called PHA circuit training. It stands for peripheral heart action. And that's when you go from a lower body exercise to an upper body, to a lower body, to an upper body. By switching body parts that are far away like that, that creates more of a circular motion of blood and oxygen going through your body, which is going to keep your heart rate just a little bit more elevated. And then when we go back onto the machines, or even if you're doing floor cardio, you have options. That's going to reinforce your heart rate so that you're staying in that good training zone. So PHA circuit training is something that I've used for many, many years, and I've had a lot of really good success with it. Now, another thing that we often do in our classes is we do Tabata training. Tabata training was designed by Dr. Tabata, Japanese doctor, who was working with speed skaters, trying to find a way to help them improve their performance. And so they did scientific studies. And so they took the speed skaters and they had them do a really intense drill that they asked them to sustain for 1 minute. And hey, Nina, just so you know, I'm seeing just the top of your forehead. Thanks. You keep going further and further away. I'm like, hey, where are you going? But with the Tabata training, they gave him drills where they had him do like 60-second drills. And then they compared them with them doing drills that were just 30 seconds. And what they found is the speed skaters worked harder when they did something for 30 seconds than when they knew psychologically they had to try to sustain it for a minute. It was shorter, it seemed more achievable, more doable on a psychological better level, and they pushed harder. So then they did the same study and they compared 30 seconds to 20 seconds. And they found that they even pushed harder when they did a 20-second drill. So they found that there's a significant difference, in the calories burned and the energy out. And again, you're going to do your Tabata training on what's appropriate for your level. So we're all different. My Tabata might be very different than Stacy's Tabata. A full round of Tabatas is 8 cycles. 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off, 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off. It takes 3 minutes and 40 seconds to go through. So now studies compared 3 minutes and 40 seconds of Tabata training to a 20 to 25 minute walk. And what they found is that people burned more calories in 3 minutes and 40 seconds than they did on that walk. So you have lots of options of how to go about your training, and we sprinkle all of these into the workouts that we do with you, and you can apply these into whatever type of training that you might be doing. Maybe if you're out doing a bike ride on the weekend, you might try it. You might try 20 seconds a little harder, 10 seconds slower, 20 seconds harder, 10 seconds slower. So PHA training was one description of a cardio fat burning type workout. Tabata training is just a little trick we have up our sleeve that helps our clients burn more calories a little more efficiently, and again, whatever your fitness level is appropriate. Then this is something we haven't talked about yet because it's very early on in this program to really get into, but here is a really cool thing, and it's called EPOC. EPOC stands for excess post oxygen consumption. And this is more advanced. But let's just say, we are now, into our training a bit. And we've been able to, build up our cardio, a bit. And we come into a workout and, we start with our warm-up. Maybe we do a couple of Tabatas. So now we're working at a higher level of intensity. We're spiking that heart rate up a little bit higher. Going through the workout, we're pushing a little bit harder. Maybe we are doing a couple of more Tabatas, do a little bit more strength, and then maybe at the end of the workout, we push it harder with some high energy output. Maybe it's a heavy climb on a cardio machine, or it's some more sprints or some more. If we are working where we're really able to spike the heart rate out, pretty well, our body will go into what's called a state of EPOC. That's excess post-oxygen consumption. A lot of runners definitely go into EPOC. They're doing more endurance, more like high-intensity work that's sustained for a period of time. EPOC is when you're burning calories at a rapid pace for a period of several hours after your workout. And that's pretty neat. So sometimes when we have classes like, say, maybe Power Hour and all that, and people are wearing a heart rate monitor, and they look at their heart rate monitor and their calorie burn at the end of the class, and let's just say they burn, I'm just going to say 600. It could be higher, it could be whatever. But let's just say they hit 600 calories, but they really, really pushed. If they kept that heart rate monitor on for another hour after the workout, they put it, checked it when they got home from driving home, they're going to find in that time just driving home that they still burned a lot of calories after the workout was done. There are studies out there, and you can research the studies because there's a lot of studies about a lot of the stuff that I just said that say that calorie burn can actually last even a lot longer than that. But I don't want to over-exaggerate or anything like that. But you can wear a heart rate monitor after your workout, and you can see, how many calories you burn after your workout. So those are things as you get more and more cardiovascularly fit that we can, apply into your workouts. Do you guys have any questions right now about cardio training? Pretty good about that?
Well, I just, the whole thing about EPOC kind of intrigues me. So the way I've been, doing it, I kind of thought Tabatas was like you did that because during the 10 seconds, then I'll grab hold of the pulse thing and to see where my pulse is. So I'm going at about 140 to 145 where I really feel breath stressed, I'll call it. But so it sounds like to me that you said you're supposed to go 70%. So that little chart on the wall for your age and your heart rate, I guess it's called, your heart rate. So you're saying if I look at that and I look, what's my 70%, that I just have to get there and I'm in optimum fat burning, but that's different than the EPOC thing, right?
Yeah, no,
kind of.
That's an excellent question. Very good question. And 70% of your heart rate is where you go into fat burning. So if I have somebody who's beginning with me, and their low level of fitness, their level of fitness level is low, I want them to know that at 70% of their heart rate, they're burning fat. But we do want you to get more and more cardiovascularly fit. So if you're working at a higher level, Nina, you are still burning fat. If you're pushing harder, you're still burning fat. The only time you're not burning fat is if you can't breathe and talk and exercise, and you basically have to stop.
Yeah, and basically, I have made myself get there by doing the Tabatas a little harder than I should because I didn't know that you fell out of fat burning when you got to where you're like gasping for air.
Yeah, that's called that's going anaerobic.
Right.
So I would go short of going anaerobics.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I just wanted people to know, like, especially people who are beginning, going at 70% of your heart rate, you're going to get into fat burning. But we do want you to start building up, so that your heart gets stronger. Your cardiorespiratory gets stronger. But
I get that. But then at what point, as you're getting stronger, do you enter into this EPOC stage?
Yeah.
That I don't get.
Right. So you want to be able to sustain a fairly high level of cardio training through your entire workout.
Without gasping for air.
Without gasping for air, yeah. So you want it to be a very good, solid aerobic workout. If I am intentionally trying to put my class into EPOC, I'll do several Tabatas during the workout when they go back and forth. Like if they do start up with a warm-up, we do a Tabata, they come out, they work out for a while, we might go back, do another Tabata. And then personally, all trainers going to be a little bit different, but personally what I would do is like when we got back to that final part on cardio, I'd say, okay, class, we're going to do one more solid push. And I would just give a solid push. So it would be a high-intensity class. I am purposely not teaching classes like that right now. Because we have a majority of our clients in Thin and Winter are brand new people, and I want them to come back.
Right. No, I get that. Okay, I was just wanted to get clear in my mind about the difference between, getting to 70% of your heart rate and when you really crossed into an EPOC situation.
Yeah.
I got it.
And then, like I said, when you wear your monitor, I don't know, do you have a monitor? Not everybody.
No, I don't have. Well, I have one of those watches that counts paces, how many steps.
Yeah.
I don't know if you call that a monitor, though.
Yeah, it would be one that's counting your calories for you. And just leave it on when you, I don't have one either. I mean, I should, of all people. Actually, I do. I have them in a box somewhere. I need to pull them out.
Okay.
they've been in a box forever, but yeah, but that's like a cool way to be able to measure it, because, you'll see your calorie read, an hour.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
You'll be like, wow.
Right.
Yeah. So I've done it many
Okay.
times where I have people like will text me. I'm like, hey, text me in an hour, text me in 2 hours. Let's check this out. But yeah, of course, I do want people to come back. But what I want to do is I
Right.
want people to work out at levels of fitness that are good for them. And I want them to feel that they can, do exactly what we're doing, and that they can keep up, and that we can build up, and so they can really measure their progress. So, we get a little further into the program, I'll start doing stuff like that. But now what I'm talking about. So, if that's something you want to apply
Yeah.
to your own training, you have that option. Cool. Okay, so that's a lot.
Okay.
That's
Cool.
a lot of really neat stuff about cardio. Did you guys learn some little tricks there? And so far, the strength and the metabolism and the ratio of body fat and muscle and how that looks on a scale. And so now we're going to go ahead and go into flexibility training, okay? Component number 3. And flexibility training is just as important as everything else. And so that's why at the end of every workout we do, we always do flexibility conditioning. A lot of people left to their own, if they go into a gym and they do their workout, most people are going to walk out on the flexibility. They're going to jump in their car. They're like, I'm done. I'm out of here. And they just don't have the patience to slow down and to really take time to stretch. Not everybody, but a lot of people. So it's really important that in all of our classes, we help you guys stretch. So stretching does a bunch of good things for you. It helps you from having like muscle tightness. It can help prevent muscle soreness. It's going to help keep range of motion around all of your joints. You want that. And importantly, it's going to help prevent you getting injured by being flexible. In addition to that, it can be a really good stress relief to be able to just take that time to just relax and breathe and lengthen out. I know a lot of people need help with like ways of coping with stress, so flexibility and taking some time to calm down is good. So just like, your strength training, where we do symmetrical training, so if we're going to work on your chest for 3 sets, we're definitely going to work on your back for 3 sets. If we're going to be doing weight training for your biceps, for 2 sets, we're definitely going to be working on your triceps. We're going to make sure we train your body symmetrically in strength training, extremely important. But we're also going to do the same thing when it comes to flexibility. So like if I'm working with you guys, I'm going to be like, okay, guys, we're going to lean back here and we're going to stretch our back. Now we're going to come here and we're going to stretch our chest. Or we're going to do this and we're going to stretch out the front of our upper thigh. Or we're going to stretch out, the back of our upper thigh. So I'm going to make sure that I work through and I work on flexibility, in all areas of my body. And when we do our stretching, we're doing our stretching after our workouts. Now, can you stretch before your workouts? Yeah, absolutely you can. And it used to be used as a warm-up method, but it's not really used as a warm-up method anymore. Not to say that you can't do it. It's just if your muscles are cold going into a session and you start trying to overstretch them or stretch them too much when they're cold, you can actually hurt yourself. In Florida, your muscles are probably never cold, but needless to say, if you were going to do stretching before a workout, just nice, gentle, maybe rhythmical, maybe not the time to really work on increasing your range of motion, but after a workout, after cardio training, or after a strength training program, your muscles are warm. And because they're warm, they're going to give more. So you always want to have the muscles warmed up somehow, prior to going into any deep type stretching. Stretching, typically if you hold your stretches for, just a few really good breaths, and then you release out of it and then you stretch back into it, whether it's 15 seconds, whether it's 30 seconds, it could be different on what you're trying to do here. But you just want to give time for the muscle to lengthen and adapt to that position. And then you release out of it, and then you go ahead and you go back into that stretch again. If you are doing stretching that's faster, you just want to be careful, that you're not too ballistic in nature. You don't want to, pull anything. Sometimes people do stretching like that, and it may be more sport specific. So typically I'm doing a stretch where I'm just going to hold. I'm going to take a couple really good breaths. I'm going to let that muscle release into that. I'm going to relax out of it. Maybe the second time I can try to stretch a little bit further. Usually your third or fourth time, you might even get a little bit more range of motion because you gave the muscle time to release, and time to release. So your stretching should always feel like just a nice pull in the muscle, but short of pain. You don't want to have any pain. You don't want to feel like you're stretching anything too far. If you work on stretching over a period of time, your body will really adapt to it. Stretching is something that your body can adapt to pretty quickly. You'll get looser when you're consistent with it, but you just want to work with your body, And stretching can be done every day, so you can stretch as often as you like. And just, again, stretching, being nice and symmetrical through your body. So a lot of times, like, I'm just going to bring up an issue here that a lot of people may have. They may have, like, lower back pain. And that's pretty common in America. It's something that a lot of people suffer from. And so they just start stretching their back, and they're always stretching their lower back, and they're always stretching their lower back. And so their lower back is actually very flexible. And that might not be what's attributing to the pain. And I'm not saying don't stretch your lower back, but sometimes, and I'm going to stand up here, but sometimes you'll see people, that what's happening here is their hips might be forward a little bit, and you can see like I got this compression here that just happened in the alignment of my lower back. So what might be happening here is my front of my legs, my quadriceps, might be really tight, and because of that, it's pulling my hips forward, and it's jacking up my lower back and compressing my vertebrae. So maybe, what I need to do in that situation is like start loosening up my quadriceps, so that can give me a more neutral alignment here. Often, when we think about like our posture, I mean, a lot of times as we get older, we start to get more and more forward, and we have a very forward world we live in. We're on our computers a lot. We're driving. We're eating. We're leaning forward often, and then that starts to kind of become how we carry ourselves. And then when we go to bed at night, before you know it, instead of having one pillow, we might have two pillows because it just feels way more comfortable because it's reinforcing how I just got my posture to, develop over time. So, with something like that, these muscles can get short and tight, so we want to open up our chest. We want to open up this area so that we can get our shoulders back and down, and we want to strengthen our back. We want to have that symmetry, so that we can get that to align up. And that's where TRX is an excellent tool, because every time you get on TRX, your shoulders are back and down, your chest is open, you've got your, you got engagement here, scapular retraction in your back. So, stretching out the chest is really good to help with your posture too. So stretching is very important. It's just as important as, your strength, just as important as your cardio. And of course, it's something that we're always going to do in all of our classes. We like to do the work on increasing our flexibility after our classes because the muscles are so warm. Can you stretch before a workout? Yes, absolutely you can. But just, go gentle on it, warm up into the muscles properly so that you're not overstretching a cold muscle. We want to prevent an injury that way. So that's a little bit about flexibility training. Any other questions, comments about that? Okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and go into nutrition. I'm probably not going to dive too deep into this tonight because we did a full 45-minute Zoom on nutrition. So you want to be sure that if you haven't seen it, go back and check it out because there's a lot of really good components on that. But when it comes to nutrition, our body needs fuel. We don't want to starve our body of calories and nutrients that our body needs. We want to find the right balance. A happy body is a body that's getting good nutrient density in it. And not only for weight loss or weight maintenance, but disease prevention. Super important that our body's getting the nutrients that it needs. So we have things that we eat. You know, we have our proteins, we have our carbohydrates, and we have our fats. Oh, and don't forget about hydration. We need hydration. You know, I'm just going to start with hydration real quick because I'm going to go back to flexibility. We need, as a general rule, 64 ounces of water a day. To get really technical about it, half your body weight in ounces is the water that we need. Our muscles are mostly composed of water. Our blood is mostly composed of water. Our bones are composed of water. Our tendons and our ligaments are composed of water. Our brain is composed of water. I mean, I can go on and on. We have better, you know, hair, we have better skin when we have, you know, good hydration. You know, most people are chronically dehydrated and they don't even know it. And so if you think about your muscles being dehydrated and you think about your tendons and your ligaments that are holding your bones and your muscles together, and if they're dehydrated, I mean, you got a brittle, dry tendon and ligament, you know, you're more apt to, like, you know, hurt yourself. Also, when our body is adequately hydrated, our body is going to utilize and burn fat more efficiently. So we need hydration. I'm writing something else down because there's another point I need to get to. But hydration is just super, super important. So I typically keep a bottle of water with me. Like everywhere I go, there's a bottle of water with me. So during the course of the day, I'm constantly drinking water. And I had to get myself into that habit. But hydration is super important. So protein. What protein is, it's going to be things like, you know, your lean sources of meat. You know, like your chicken, your fish, your turkey. I am a red meat eater. You know, lean sources of red meat like filet, sirloin are more lean sources. You know, of course, you can get protein from, you know, nuts, eggs. Eggs are a really good source of protein. Cheeses, you got to be careful. Cheeses are high in fat, you know, but it comes, you can get, you know, protein from that. But lean sources is what we're looking for. And what protein does is protein helps us maintain muscle that we already have in our body. And it helps us to burn or build more muscle. So protein is super important. I'm going to veer off real quick here about, you know, some of these diets that people go on, you know, and it's all about learning how to eat healthy and eat balanced. But sometimes you'll go on these crazy, crazy diets out there, and it just drives me crazy when I hear people are going to do them. And they're like, oh, yeah, I'm going to do this diet, and I'm going to have like 500 calories a day. I'm going to put my body into some ketosis, and, you know, and I can't work out while I'm on it, and, you know, and then start looking at what they're eating. And a lot of times, you know, I mean, it's definitely a deficit in calories all across the board. But when you're not getting, you know, enough protein in your body, you know, your body is going to be burning protein. It's going to be burning your muscle, you know, to help give fuel. So if you're not getting enough to maintain it, you know, and enough calories, your body can go and start burning muscle for fuel. When you do that, obviously you're losing muscle density in your body and your metabolism is getting slower. So you need to have enough calories all across all nutrients so that doesn't happen. So sometimes on these diets, what's happening is people are losing weight on the scale, but what they've lost is they've lost muscle. So they're looking at the scale and like, yay, I lost all this weight. Well, if you lost muscle weight, that's a very short-term result. You just dug a hole. You just got a slower metabolism. You are going to put the weight back on, and you're going to have a harder time on it. Yeah, just now take answer questions. You're going to have a harder time losing the weight next time around because you have less muscle going into the next, and it causes the yo-yo. Yes, Christine.
Well, I was really discouraged because I went to my oncologist and I told her that I started the Thinner Winner Challenge, and I'm going 3 to 5 times a week and working out, and I'm starting to track all of my food, write it down, and try to make better food choices.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, well, this isn't rocket science. It's calories in, input out. And she said, really, you should be on, and you see how heavy I am. She said, you should be on 1,200 calories, or she said, have you ever watched Biggest Loser? You should probably be on like 600 to 800 calories. And I mean, I was so discouraged because I think, first of all, making that drastic of a change, I would yo-yo. I wouldn't be able to sustain it. But, to go from probably what my caloric intake is now, um, 800 calories, I don't know. So I didn't know what to say. I just said, oh yeah, okay.
Okay, I want to address this. Okay, now as a personal trainer, it's very important to know. I am not a medical doctor, and if a medical doctor, I can't ever dispute like the medical community because they have a medical background that I do not have. So I just want to put out there real quick before, as I get into this conversation, as a disclaimer, if there's a reason why your doctor has suggested that, then you might want to explore that with her. So I just want to put that out there right up front. I'm not a doctor. I do not have that background. And if they have a reason for something like that, they have a reason for something like that, and that would be to definitely talk with them about. Having
Right.
said that, being in the industry as long as I have and being certified by the American Council on Exercise, and I'm not a dietitian, but I do know some things about, energy in, energy out, So when it comes to, the food that we're bringing in and what I recommend that's appropriate for people in regards to portions, there's 2 ways that I go about it. Like, I don't write a diet plan, but there's 2 ways I go about it. The way I go about it now is I just simply use the food portion containers. It's a no-brainer. It teaches people about portion size and how to get all the right amounts of nutrients from all the different sources. It's very visual. It's very easy to follow. And there is a calculation in there, that takes your body weight into factor your normal calorie output without exercise, your calorie output, and then it breaks it down. And it's like, okay, so during the day, I need this many containers of protein. I need this many containers of veggies. I need this many containers of, my grains. And it's just a really neat way to go about it. And I'm going to say about the Biggest Loser too. Don't let me forget about that. Okay. And then, how I did it prior to kind of switching over to the food containers is, with calories, about 20% per take of your daily intake should come from protein, 55% from carbohydrates. That leaves the other 25% from unsaturated fats. So I'm able to do a calculation based on your, your body weight, your body fat percentage, and then I'm able to multiply it out by your 20%, your 25%, and your 55% to give you your specific calories needed in a day. So it's all about, fueling people with the right amount of nutrients so that their body will, over time, get into a healthy body composition, which is the 5th component that we'll talk about. Anybody who does anything very drastic right away, number one, it's just not healthy. It's just not healthy on your organs. It's not healthy on your heart. It's not going to be sustainable. and chances are you are going to be losing muscle and stuff like that. Now, with that being said, The Biggest Loser, I have a love-hate relationship with that show. I love the show because I, as a trainer, love learning new exercises. So I might see some cool stuff on there. I'm like, wow, man, that's a really neat exercise. I haven't seen that before. That's something I might want to use in a workout that I do. Psychologically, sometimes I've seen things that I just didn't, in my personal opinion, agree with how to work with people in regards to getting on long-term results. Not all of them are like this, but I believe in, having fun with fitness and really building people up. I think it's important for people to link positive emotions with exercise so that they enjoy it and it becomes a lifestyle. So there's ways that I work with my clients to try to make it super fun for you, give you really good education so that you can like exercise and build it into a lifestyle. It's a weight loss competition. Unlike what we're doing a body fat composition. This is about body fat, and this is not about like what you weigh on the scale. So like if I had a weight loss competition, I might have some people go totally dehydrated on me, and knowing how much muscle weighs, they might just burn off a whole bunch of muscle. Also, they might go into the deprivation diet so that they can jump on that scale and win that competition. And that is not healthy. Our body needs nutrients. Our body needs nutrition. Our body needs hydration. And we need to have a certain amount of calories, and each person's going to be a little bit different. And I'm happy to kind of, if you want to come in my office, I'm happy to show you what my method would show for you. And again, you take that to your doctor and you decide what's best for you. I can't decide that for you, but, body.
I think it's just kind of a very flippant answer because she's never talked to me about nutrition. And the fact that I was saying, look, I'm trying to be more fit now, and that she reduced two multi-billion-dollar industries, nutrition and exercise, to those simple statements. I just walked out and thought, I got to tell you, I was discouraged, but I also know that, to tell me to drastically cut my calories, because I did Weight Watchers before, and, heavier people get more points, and then as you lose weight, your points come down because they know you can't just go cold turkey. So I will sit down with you because this makes much more sense. So thank you.
Right. And for me personally, like to me, nutrition is just not about my weight. To me, like what I choose to eat is my pharmacy. So I'm either going to be eating good stuff. I'm either going to be loading my body with good medicine, or not. And disease prevention is really high on my list for me and how I choose to eat, and I just want to make sure my body's getting what it needs, So cool. So yeah, we can sit down and we can talk, and then again, you can make an informed decision, all right, so we talked a little bit about protein. Now I'm going to go ahead and go into some carbohydrates. So carbohydrates, no carbs. Okay, so just like that, people get hooked on the number of the scale. That went on for so many years that it's just ingrained in our body that we're so hooked to the number because it's so many years we were obsessed about the number on the scale. And then we went into the no carb phase where no, I can't eat any carbs, all right? Well, it's typically, the type of carb you're eating and what you're actually doing to the carb that can really screw it up, okay? So when people think about carbs, they're usually thinking about things like bread, pasta, potatoes, donuts, chips, things like that, okay? So yeah, we gotta watch out for that, Carbohydrates, man, fruits and vegetables. Fruits and vegetables are carbohydrates. They're loaded in nutrients. They're loaded in antioxidants. Man, fruits and vegetables are good for us. Can we screw that up? Sure. We can make a salad and not understand portion control size. And I know there's restaurants in town. I went to one recently that served me a salad. And because I know portion control, I know that they served me 3 salads in one sitting. You know, what do we do to our carbs? You know, maybe we take that salad and we put, you know, a bunch of dressing all over it, and we put some bacon on it, and we put some croutons on it. I mean, I was in Publix one day and I saw that they had like the pre-sealed like salad, and I picked it up, and I don't remember the exact number, but I think when I read the label on it, it was like almost 600 calories for the salad. And I'm like, well, you know, if you saw what is all put on it, the cheese and all this stuff, I mean, you could take a perfectly innocent salad and we can screw it all up. You know, you could take a perfectly innocent sandwich, you know, and depending like what you load on top of it, you know, you can screw it all up. You know, of course, you take a slice of pizza, and you got all that cheese and all that, you know, you can take a carb and you can definitely ruin a carb. So what people don't think about is, you know, fruits and vegetables, whole grains, you know, things that like they're more like your brown things, you know, like your you know, grain bread, your you know, your brown rice, you know, maybe your you know, like a sweet potato. Just trying to think of a couple more examples here, but you know, when you have like carbohydrates that are white, you know, like rice, you know, your white potatoes, come on, Yvette, you know, your white bread, those are things that are going to spike your blood sugar levels. And now you're going to get hungrier faster, and they like basically like don't have much nutrition in them. So, you know, you got your fruits, you got your veggies, and you got your whole grains. And those are really good, nice carbs that you can have. You know, so 55%, you know, should come from carbs. So I'm going to go, oh, and what carbs do, where protein helps you build muscle, carbohydrates give your body energy. So we need energy. So we need a certain amount of carbohydrates, definitely, so that we have energy to get up and get through our day, and we have energy to do our workouts. And, you know, we want to replenish our body after our workouts with proteins and carbs so that we can build muscle and, you know, restore energy levels and all that. So super important carbs. We need them 55%. So that shows, you know, that we can't be like, but just know it's the type of carbs you choose and what you do to your carbs that make the difference. I said in the nutrition video, if you shop around the perimeter of your grocery store, you're usually going to do pretty good. It's just when you start going up and down those aisles where, you know, that's where the danger. So that leads us on to fats. Okay, so our body does need a certain amount of fat. We need fat to absorb vitamins and minerals into our bloodstream. We need, your dog is too cute. We need fat, you know, just so that our neuromuscular system, you know, messages, you know, signaling from our nerves to our brain and all that stuff are efficient and work. And we need a certain amount of fat so that we have able to cushion and protect our internal organs. I mean, we need fat, and we're talking like unsaturated fats. You know, so unsaturated fats, you know, you're going to get some of that like in things like fish, you know, you're going to get some of that in, you know, you know, avocados are a good example, you know, olives are a good example. You know, I cook with olive oil, you know, so those are some sources that you can get fats from. I don't usually have to go out of your way to find more fat, but we do need a certain amount of fat. Now, calories in fat, it's 9 calories per gram. Calories in carbohydrates, 7 calories per gram. And calories in protein, 7 calories per gram. So we just want to know that fat has more calories per gram. That's important to also understand that. So when it comes to your foods, you know, say you're having breakfast, you're having lunch, you're having dinner, maybe you're having some, you know, snack in between, because if you go more than 3 hours without food, your metabolism starts to slow. So we want to make sure that we're getting food throughout our day. You can look at your plate, and I can look at my plate and I say, okay, so for breakfast this morning, I've got, I'm going to make a nice scrambled egg here, 20% of my plate, not full out to the full size of the plate, but 20% I'm going to see, my protein. I might see a piece of whole grain toast on there, a carb, a grain, and then I might see maybe like a little serving of strawberries or something, so I can see that like about 55%, I see that I have my carbs and I can see my protein. There's going to be fat inside of the egg. If you use something on your light on your toast, you might have a little fat there, but it's going to be a balance. Like maybe if I'm having dinner, maybe I'll just use red meat because I am a red meat eater in moderation. But let's just say I'm having, a sirloin, maybe size of the palm of my hand. Maybe I'm having some brown rice, and then maybe I'm having some broccoli. And I'm cooking it in olive oil, and I can see that it kind of portions out on my plate. So, nutrition is very important. Having a similar caloric intake from one day to the next is going to be best for your metabolism. If you're all over the place, your body's not going to know if it's going to get enough fuel from one day to the next. It's going to want to store more. So nutrition is very important. All of you guys know that I love Shakeology. I know that each day I'm going to have a dense dose of nutrition every morning. And that's just kind of my insurance policy for myself. But you can get, nice, clean, whole foods. Stay away from the processed. Stay away from the chemicals. And that's kind of nutrition in a nutshell. Now, having a balance of your components of fitness, having a balance of your strength training where you're building muscle in your body, having a balance of your cardio training where you're working your heart, and if you're looking for fat burning, you're getting your fat burning, having that balance of your flexibility, very important for your body, injury prevention and all that like we talked about, and having a balance in your nutrition. Your body will naturally begin to align with a healthy body composition. This way we can do it in a way that's healthy for us, in a way that's sustainable. We took our components and we lined them up nicely. So that's basically, what this talk was to be about tonight, is so that you can understand how your body functions in all these different components, and how if we put together a balance amongst them, you're going to be able to get the results. It does take a little time. It does take a little bit of patience, but it's a lifestyle. It's not like a, hey, let's do this point A to point B. Now this 5 weeks is over, then they're done that. No. This is about creating a lifestyle that you can sustain, a lifestyle that you can enjoy, and that you have the education to do it the right way. So it's no more yo-yos, no more stopping and starting, just understanding how the body works and doing it right this time. And then that's it. There's no more starting and stopping anymore. We know how to do it. We know how to do it right. And you guys have all the support, So, you got online support. You might have support from your family, your friends, you've got support at the studio. So when it comes to weight loss and results over a course of a year, when people do it with fitness alone, I think it's 1% stay successful. I think it was nutrition alone. About 1% stay successful a year later. When people do it with fitness and nutrition together, about a year later, 10% stay successful. Fitness, nutrition, and accountability. So you've surrounded yourself with people who are going to support you in this lifestyle. You've made friends or whatever that success rate a year later goes up to 79% of the people stay successful. Fitness, nutrition, accountability, and personal development, you go all the way up to 89% stay successful. And that's huge. And the industry is totally starting to take this change. You know, they're starting to realize our old ways don't work for people in the long run. You know, so you're going to find, you know, and during the course of this, you know, like we're working on mindset. You know, we're offering, you know, we're going to work on breaking down roadblocks in about a week or so. We're going to offer you guys different types of books and different types of ways to really grow as a person also, on top of all the other fitness and nutrition stuff. Because what I want for all of my clients is to be at 89% success rate, and they're still successful a year later, 2 years later, 5 years later, and throughout the course of their life. So do you guys have any more questions or comments?
I just really appreciate the whole system, and I didn't know what we were doing when Kevin or you, or maybe I had Kim, I don't remember the other girl's name, what they were doing when it was, you know, 20 seconds on and on and then be off. So that's helpful to me that I understand that now.
Right.
And I just like the atmosphere of how much support I'm getting. So thank you.
Good. You're welcome. You're very welcome, Christine.
Yeah, it was really good info for me also. And I like her. I like the support, the atmosphere. You feel good coming there. It makes it easier for you to be committed.
Great.
For me.
Excellent, Nina.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah.
You're both
Welcome. Yeah.
fantastic. Stacy, do you have anything you'd like to?
Well, it's what you developed.
Yeah.
It's what you developed. It's come from the top down. So, you know, kudos to you.
Oh, I've been a trainer for a long time, as you guys know. I love my work, and I've had the opportunity, especially over the past 2 years, to really grow as a person. You know, becoming a Beachbody coach has been transformational in my life and in my business. And the people that I get to work with each week, you know, help coach me. And so I'm able to take all my years of experience combined with the work I'm doing, you know, together, you know, with my Beachbody line. And I happen to be with really great line of top leaders in the actual industry that I work together with each week. So we're able to just take it and funnel it all right into my little fitness center here in Sarasota. So it's super, super cool. It's really cool to see how my business and my life has evolved. And I'm glad.
Yeah, awesome.
I'm enjoying it.
Good.
So, yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. And then I'm going to go back. I'm exhausted tonight because my son left at 4:30 this morning, but I'll go back in the next couple of days and watch the first one that I missed.
Okay, great. I'm going to pop up to Stacy real quick and see if Stacy has anything that she'd like to comment or add before we close.
No, I'm good. Just mirroring everybody else. I mean, it's been a year now, and this is my second dinner winner, and I'm in it because I really enjoy it. It's the first gym I've ever been to where I'm not a number. Mm-hmm. I'm a part of a family, and all of us are there for the same cause and the same reason.
Right.
And we're all different people, but we're all there for the same reason, to feel better of each other. Mm-hmm. And you're not going to go to any other gym who can sit here with the owner of the studio to do any of this with you. They don't care. They're there, and that's all they want.
True.
It makes a huge difference to have things like this. And that's why I tell everybody, I'm like, I don't care what I spend a month for this. This is what I'm getting from it. My other gym, when I tried to leave, I never even went there. And that was the response I got was, we don't care if you've ever been here or not. We just want our money every month. But then when you're not at the gym with you, I'm hearing from you or the other trainers. How are you doing? Yeah. What can we do to get you stronger? What do we need to do to get you back? It makes you feel like you don't want to stop. It really, I mean, everyone there gives you a reason to not want to stop. That makes a huge difference.
Thanks. And Stacey's she's also on our coaching team. I think you're coaching tomorrow, right? Is tomorrow today?
Yes.
Cool. Mm-hmm. So she's going to be coaching us in our challenge tracker tomorrow.
Oh, cool.
So it's really nice to have you part of my team, Stacy.
Thank you.
And I think on that note, we'll go ahead and we'll conclude. Just know that you guys can reach out to me anytime. We'll find some time, Christine, to sit together. And
Okay.
thanks for popping on with me tonight. I think next week is eliminating roadblocks. I'm pretty sure. I have to check. And then, of course, the other topic this week is mindset. So we'll work on this week. And, hopefully you guys can pop on next week. But I'll see you at your next workout.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Thanks.
Okay, guys.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, girls.
Night.
Bye, guys.